brand new section. Now, in this section, we're going to be doing a art project that's going to take everything that you've learned so far throughout this course and implement it into one project. So here we have this butterfly, and this is going to be the end goal. I'm going to walk you step by step through how to create and color this butterfly here. Now, all the things we've learned so far is highlights and shadows, blending, and color scheme. So we're going to take all of those and implement it into this butterfly to have an amazing piece of artwork at the end. So to start this project, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and head over to the next lecture, and there's going to be a template for you to print out. Once you get that, you're going to cut it out, and then you're going to place it on your paper and trace it. It's going to be an exact shape as this butterfly I have here. But if you really want to, you can go ahead and try to draw your own butterfly, but try to make it pretty similar to the shape I have so you can still follow along. How I made mine is I just folded a piece of paper in half and drew one side of the butterfly. Then I folded the paper back in half and cut it out so it was perfect on both sides. So if you want to do that, go ahead, or you can go over to the next lecture and get an exact copy of mine and print it out and trace it onto your paper. So once you've done that, we can go ahead and move on there. So once you've done that, just draw on the rest, kind of like its tail, if you want to call it that. I'm not sure what the insect anatomy parts are called, but then we'll add that and just bring it down all the way to the bottom. Kind of like an elongated diamond, kind of. Alright, so once you've done that, let's go ahead and just make them a little bit more defined and darken them in a little bit more. So we've got our head, main body, and then our tail, or abdomen. Maybe that's what it's called. I'm not sure. That's what they call it on spiders. But anyways, so there you go. We got our body. Once again, don't worry if it doesn't look exactly like mine. It'll be fine. Okay, so there you go. Now let's bring our wings in. So we're going to have our top wing be going over our bottom wing. So let's just go ahead and draw a line in right here. And it's going to connect just above the part where our tail connects to the main body. And also, guys, if you need to turn your paper to do this, go ahead. I'm just doing it this way so you guys can see. Alright, and there we go. Now let's add some markings on the wing where it's going to be colored in black, and the rest of the part is going to be left open for color. So first of all, let me just go ahead and sharpen my pencil so I have a nice sharp point, so my lines are nice and clean. Alright, so we're going to start about halfway up the wing right there. We're just going to make kind of a check mark, upside down check mark shape. Just like that. Then we're going to bring it down. It's going to fade in that line. Then we're going to open it back up a little bit as it gets to the body. Just like that. And kind of the nice part about how it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. When I see these all in the Q&A section, it's going to be so fun because they're all going to look different. So it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Maybe yours goes a little bit further up. Maybe yours comes a little bit farther out. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. So that's the cool thing about this assignment. So let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side. See, on this side I got this little thing going on, so I'm just gonna add that on that side just to make it even. There you go. And I can tell another difference right here. This one comes down barely a little bit more, it looks like, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that on this side as well. And it's okay because all of this will be filled in with black. Alright, so now let's go ahead and add a little streak right here that will be filled in with black as well. Just like that. Just bring it right down. Nice slope. And remember, guys, to get these curves, turn your paper. It's going to help a lot. It's going to help you get those lines a lot smoother. Alright, now once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a nice dark patch that's going to be going down here on both sides. And when we color, we're going to add a nice bright color in them for some pop in our picture and give it some nice contrast. So let's just start about right here and just bring this right down. Perfect. Alright, so we're almost done. Let's go ahead and just add a little bit around the edge over here. For this one, we're going to put a little bit of design in there, just like that. So add some little rigid markings and stuff in there. There we go. Alright, this is looking pretty good so far. So now let's go ahead and just put some circles in here. Up in here, just lightly put a few circles. Because this will be filled in black, but we're going to add some white dots up in here. So we have 4 on that side. Let's add another 4 over here. Alright, and that's going to look really nice when we color that in. And then down here, let's do the same thing. But these dots here are going to be on the white, or on the color, and we're going to color these ones in black when we color it. Right, and then finally, let's add some antennas. You guys can make your... Alright, now that you know what our color scheme is, I'm going to go ahead and show you how we're going to execute this. So to first start coloring our butterfly, we're going to start out with this top left wing. So in this section, we're going to do this wing, and then we're going to move our way down to this bottom left wing. Then after we've done that, we're going to do the body. Once we've done that, we're going to do the top right wing, then the bottom right wing. And the reason why we're moving this direction, we're going to be moving in a diagonal direction going this way. And the reason why we do that is so we're not rubbing our hand over areas that we've already colored and smearing it. So there will be this little bit of pencil over here, and your hand will be rubbing on it as you color. So if you want, you can lay a piece of paper down covering this half of the butterfly so you don't smear it at all. But I'm not going to, just so you guys can see a lot better and so it doesn't look confusing. But if you want to do that, that's totally fine. So do your best to follow along, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First thing, let's take our white colored pencil and we're going to color in these dots up at the tip of the wing. And the reason why we're going to color these in first is because we're going to be filling this in with black. And you don't want to fill this in with black first, then add your white, because the black will bleed in and smear and blend. We want it to look nice, crisp, and clean. So let's go ahead and color these in. Alright, perfect. Now, we won't be using our white colored pencil for quite a while now, so let's go ahead and put that to the side for now. Now, let's go ahead and pull out our black pencil. For our black pencil, we're going to color in all the spots that are going to be black, right along here, up at the top, as well as right here and at the bottom of the wing right there. So go ahead and do this along with me and start coloring this in black. Alright guys, as you can see I finished. I sped it up a little bit, so if you guys need to, go ahead and pause it and color that in. So as you can see here, I just added a few little extra markings here, and you guys can go ahead and do the same or do something a little bit different. Go ahead and be creative with it, guys. They don't all have to look exactly the same, and yours doesn't have to look just like mine. Right, so now that we've got that all colored in, let's go ahead and move on to the actual color. So now it's time for your light blue pencil. And what we're going to do is block in our colors and where they're going to go and where their boundaries are. So let's take your light blue color. We're going to draw in where this color can go. So we're going to just draw that in just like that. So that right there is where this blue color is going to go in, and then it's going to bleed and blend into the next color right around this ring. So let's go ahead and take our light pink or light purple, and we're going to do the same thing. So this area right here is where the blue is going to be, and in this area is where our purple will be. And this area right here is where the two will bleed into each other. Let's just do one final one with our dark blue. We're going to do this one really close to the black. Right, perfect. Now we're going to start with our darker colors and go in towards the light so we're not smearing our hand over that. So let's take our dark blue, just go ahead and start coloring this in. And the dark blue is going to blend in really well next to the black. So there's not going to be much blending required here. Remember, don't press your blue down extremely hard next to the edge here, because that is where it needs to start blending. So let's do put a lot of pressure down here, and then ease up a little bit. Alright, so we've got our dark blue in. Now we're going to add our purple in and blend our purple into our blue, just how I showed you guys in our previous lectures. Alright, now we got all of our purple in, So let's go back with our dark blue again up at the top and color it in even darker and get that final blend. And make sure you don't push too hard when you're going into the purple. Alright, now then, let's one more time take our purple and make one more final blend, since purple is the lighter color, so we're going to blend it into the blue. That's going to look real nice. As you can see, as we blended our purple into our blue, it gave us an even darker tone of purple. That looks really nice as it transitions from the blue to the purple. There we go. Now your butterfly should be looking a whole lot like this now. We've got our black going into our dark blue, going into our purple. Now we're going to bleed our purple into our light blue. So let's take our blue here and just start laying it down. Alright, so now as our blue is getting into our purple, we're going to blend that in just like so. You go a little bit lighter the closer in you get. And then we're going to do the same thing we did with these two colors. We'll take our purple back, bleed in a little bit. Let's actually take our purple all the way down along here to this black. That's going to look real good once we take our blue again and fade it back in. Let's do the same up here. Just bring it down a little bit. There we go. Let's lightly color in some more blue right there, or purple. Alright, so it looks pretty rough right now. But then let's take our blue once again. Just go over these purples. It's going to blend them in real nice. And up here, you can go ahead and go in circular motions, so it doesn't look like lines going across in your colors, and it will look a lot smoother. Alright guys, and there you have it. We have our color in now. Just gonna actually fade this in a little bit more. Let's blend that a little bit better. Now, if you guys ever end up doing this on your own and you want it to look more blended in as you go on, you can do that by using a lot more colors. For this exercise, we're only using 3 colors, but you could do a dark blue here, a dark purple, mid-tone purple, light purple, blue, lighter blue, all the way down to like yellow if you wanted. You could do that, but we're only using 3 colors. So we've got our light blue, purple, dark blue, and then we have our black up here. So guys, we're almost done with this wing, minus the highlights and shadows. We're going to be doing highlights and shadows for it in a whole nother lecture. But before we end this, let's go ahead and take our black and just touch up our edges a little bit more, just to make them look a little sharper. Alright, and there you go. Our left top wing is colored now. In the next lecture, we're going to move down to the bottom area. And then once we've done our bottom wing, we're going to come back and do the little small details like the veins running through its through its wing, sorry. We're going to do those. We're going to add highlights and shadows to this one and this one. And then once we've done that, we can move on to the body. So, first wing done. I'll see you in the next lecture where we can do the bottom wing. So, we're going to first color in our wings, then we're going to add highlights and shadows, which is really going to make our picture pop and come to life. So, first thing we're going to do with our bottom wing is we're going to kind of do the same thing we did with our last one. We're going to go through, color in everything that needs to be black, then we're going to add our colors. But for this one, first, we're going to add in our yellow, where we're going to put our contrasting part that's going to pop out. We're going to put that right in here where there's going to be black surrounding it. So first what we're going to want to do is take our brightest yellow and just color in a little bit right there. Not too much and not too dark, because this is going to be tricky. We're going to have to blend our yellow into more of an orange, into this pink, into black. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we've added our yellow. Now, let's go ahead and kind of draw an area around it, just like that. And the area over on this side, we can color in all black. This is where we're going to be blending. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, now that we've done that, we're going to take our orange and color some orange in around the yellow. Just like that. Then we're going to do the same thing with our pink around the orange. So, as you can see by now when blending, it's all about layers. You want to put your yellow, and then you're going to surround your yellow with the orange and do the same with the pink, and then you go back through again and smooth them into each other. So we're going to take our yellow and blend it into the orange, since it is the lighter color. There we go. Now we're going to take our black and get a little bit closer to the pink. Just like that. And we're going to bring our black up here. Alright, now we're going to work our way with our pink and start blending that in. For this, you want to push pretty hard so you can get them to mix with each other. Now this isn't going to be a very gradual blend. It's going to be really quick, just going straight pink from black. It's not really even a blend. We just want to make it so it doesn't look like a hard line next to the pink and black. Now let's take our yellow one more time. Just kind of go over everything to bring it to life. There we go. Perfect. So I'm just going to take my black now and touch up some areas. And I do want to take my black and go along there, but I'm going to save that for later when we add highlights and shadows. Alright, so now that we have that area done, where our little contrasting spot's going to be, we're going to take our black and we're going to color in the rest of this over here. So go ahead and do that now. Alright, perfect. Now that we have that done, we can start adding our colors, and we're going to do the same thing we did up here and do our little sections. So let's go ahead and take our dark blue. I want to keep the dark blue actually pretty close to the black on this one. I want this bottom wing to mostly be blue. Let's take our dark blue and go right along the edge. Alright, now for our purple. And for our purple, if you added dots like me when we made our layout, I'm going to bring these up over here. Just like that. Perfect. And then our light blue. Alright, so let's go ahead and start blending these in now. I'm going to sharpen my pencil real quick. Okay, so just like before, color this in dark blue. Alright, we have that colored in dark blue. I made it a little bit lighter up here because I don't want it as dark as intense going into the light blue and purples. So we have our dark blue colored in. Now let's go ahead and start fading it out. So in fading it out, just like that lecture we did where I had you guys blend, you should fade it, and by the time it gets to this border, there should be no more blue. Now, time for our purple. So you want to do just pure purple right next to this line. That's where the blue is being faded in. And then you want to fade it out towards the light blue, just like we did over here. So right now I'm just coloring it in really dark along the line. And now let's start fading it out. Right, now lastly our blue. Alright, now we have all of our colors drawn in, and now it's time to blend them. And just a reminder, guys, feel free to turn your paper while coloring this. Because while I was coloring in right here, I was really tempted to turn my paper, but I couldn't for your guys' benefit so you can see better. But make sure you guys turn your paper a lot. It'll help you get those angles and strokes a lot better. So let's go ahead and take our dark blue again. And actually, no. Sorry. Let's take our purple and start blending into our dark blue. And when you guys go over your black spots, you can go over them or you can go around them. They will smear just a little bit if you go over them, like mine did a little bit there. But it's okay, it'll still look great, and we're going to be going around them we're going to be doing something with these layers that's going to make them look a lot better. So now we want to be pressing down pretty hard with our purple into our blue. I know this isn't quite the same as the lecture where I had you guys do the color blending in just lines. But the best way to learn this kind of stuff is just by jumping in and doing it. So that's what we're doing here. Alright, perfect. We have that blended in, and we'll go back through and touch it up a little bit more later on. Now let's take our light blue and do the same thing into our purple. Now we've got that colored in, I'm going to take my purple, and if you guys have anywhere that needs to be touched up a little bit more, just take your purple and go through, or any color, just go through and just touch up these last final areas. Like down here, I have some paper showing through, I need to touch this up a little bit. So I'm just going to blend in here with my purple, and then to fix down here, I'm going to take my dark blue, color this in. And then up here, I'm going to take my light blue and finish it off. There we go. And then right here, I got this cool little thing going on where I have a sliver of blue going into the purple and a sliver of purple going into the blue. I didn't really plan that out. It just kind of happened. And it looks really cool, so I'm just going to keep it. Alright, so we got our color down. Now, just like last time, let's take our black and go through any areas that need to be touched up. So right here, let's make that line a little bit sharper. Let's make this line a little darker. Touch it up here. Alright, there we go. And now, finally, one last thing. We're going to take our white colored pencil and we're just going to circle our black dots to give it a little bit of lighter pink around it, which I think is going to look really nice. There we go. Now for this part, I recommend you guys doing it like mine. You can get a little bit more creative, but the more creative you get, the less it'll be like mine and the harder it'll be for you guys to follow along. So that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and do the same thing along here, along this black border. There we go. So that makes it pop a little bit more and look a lot nicer. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing up here. And you guys can do that as well. Just put a little white border in between the blue and the black, but make sure it's on the color part and not the black, because we're putting this white on it and it's just making a lighter version of the color it's on. So make sure it's on the blue and not the black, or the color won't show up. See, right here would be a really good time to tilt my paper to get this curve. I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick, guys, because it's really difficult trying to get that angle. Okay, now it's time to color in our body for this lecture. For this lecture, all you're going to need is your black and white colored pencils. So first, let's go ahead and take our white, and we're going to get a little creative, and you guys can do a little bit different things if you want. We're just going to make some very small white markings. Nothing too crazy because it will distract from the wings. Just very faint small markings is all. And that is it. So if you want, you can copy exactly how I did mine, or you can do it a little bit different. We're going to be adding some more white markings over the black, but first we're going to color in our black so we can put it over so they aren't as intense and so they look like more of highlights, and that's what's going to give us the idea that this is a cylinder type shape. So now let's go ahead and take our black and color in the whole entire body, going around our white markings. Alright, now that you've done that, we're going to go ahead and take our white colored pencil and we're going to go back over our white markings and kind of fade them into the black a little bit. Just kind of mix them in, just like that, so they don't look as intense. And there. We're actually going to take these two right here and just arch them like that. Except for mine looks kind of messed up. There we go. Now what we're going to do some more of those all along the butterfly in certain points. So right here, where these two body parts connect, we're going to make a little arched. And that's going to give the idea that it's curved over. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen my pencil a little bit, just to get some sharper lines. So let's go ahead and do some down here as well. And then here, we're not going to go all the way, we're just going to go up halfway. And we'll do one more full one on the neck. Alright, so now that we have those, we're going to take our black colored pencil and clean it up now, because it looks a little bit sloppy. So you can see mine right here, how these are all irregular and just look ugly. We're going to take our black colored pencil and trim them out, just like that. So that's the nice thing about black colored pencils, is because if you mess up like in here, and almost even with any color, lots of times they're very forgiving and you can go back and fix your mistakes. Alright, now that we got that all cleaned up, let's go ahead and take our white colored pencil one more time and just go over these once more. Alright guys, now that we have our body colored in the next lecture we're going to go through and add some final details to the wings, and then in the next lecture we'll add our highlights and shadows. Alright, now in this lecture what we're going to do real quick is go ahead and add our small details. So first what we're going to want to do is take our white colored pencil and we're just going to lightly put a little bit of white right here in the center of the wing down towards the body. And we're going to push it down pretty dark right down here, and then we're going to fade it out till it gets lighter. And let's go in circular motions here so we don't have a real edgy look, so it blends nice and smoothly. Alright. There we go. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing down here. Alright, nice. So now that we've done that, we're going to go and take our blue one last time, and we're going to blend in with this purple a little bit more and blend it in with our white so it looks even better. We got our blue, now let's go ahead and blend these in a little bit more. Going in circular motions. And the reason why we go in a circular motion is because if we go back and forth like that, it's just going to look really edgy, just how it does right along there. If we're going circular motions, blends it a lot nicer. Sometimes you are going to want to go back and forth, but for this project specifically, we want to go in circular motions. We're going to do the same thing in the white, but a lot softer. There we go. Alright, perfect. Now that we've done that, you're going to want to get a real sharp black colored pencil. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and add the veins, if you want to call them that, in the butterfly wing. So you guys can go ahead and follow me and make them pretty similar to mine, but they don't have to look exactly like mine, so if they don't, that's fine. So let's just take ours and go up like this a little bit. Just kind of very faintly rigid, just like that. Now that we've done that, we're going to break these off into 3 separate more stems that go off like this. Perfect. And then we're going to add one more coming off from this section. Just like that. So we've got those drawn in. Now let's do one more from down here, coming to there. Perfect. Now our butterfly wing looks a lot more defined and a lot better, and it's going to look even better when we add our highlights and shadows to give some reflections and stuff in there. So now let's do the same thing down here. So we're just going to draw a line coming out right there. We'll bring one that comes all the way down. We'll have it come a little bit further. And then just make a real long skinny arch. Just like that. Perfect. Now we got our base lines in. Let's make them a little bit thicker in places and a bit more defined. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen my pencil a little bit more. It's very important to have a sharp pencil for this part so they look nice and clean. So let's go ahead and just darken this one up a little bit. And let's make it a bit thicker towards the body. Not too thick, we don't want to overdo it. And then let's make these lines a bit thicker as well. Alright, nice. Now let's do the same thing up here. Just make it a bit thicker down towards the body. Oops, just broke my pencil there. Sharpen it again. Remember guys, a very sharp pencil for this is very important because we don't want them to look mucky at all. And you guys, I really do, you guys should really turn your paper for this. This is pretty difficult trying to do it like this without turning my paper. So feel free to turn your paper when doing this. Alright, that is pretty loose right there, so we're going to go through and tighten it up right after I tell you guys. In this area right here, what we're going to do is we're going to connect it to this black, but we're going to kind of, instead of just a line shooting straight into it, we're going to kind of connect it like that and build a little foundation, a little spot where it can grow in. Just like that. And we're going to do that to all of these. And basically what the idea is, when it's close to the wall like this or connecting, you want to make it a little bit thinner, and lines out here all by themselves, we want them to be thinner and these areas thicker. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and do that, and then I'll come back and show you my results. Alright, so I went ahead and went in and I added all the thicker parts where the lines connected or met a wall. So now that we've done all of that, what we're going to do is take our white colored pencil, and as along this wall how we added the white, we're going to take that white and drag it up these lines just a little bit, just so they can flow better and it will look a lot nicer instead of just going through the black line. So just take your white and we're just going to drag it up there. Now remember, you don't want to overdo this. Don't do it too much, just very, very faint. And then let's do the same thing down here. Alright, and there you go. So we have our last final small details. Now in the next lecture, we're going to go in and add our final highlights and shadows, and that will be it. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this butterfly so far, and I am so excited it's getting closer for your butterfly to be done. I can't wait to see it in the Q&A section. It's time to finish this whole left side of the butterfly now. So let's go ahead and add our final highlights and shadows. Now, I know I didn't add green in our color scheme, but for this lecture, we're going to be using a light, almost minty green for the highlights and shadows. Not exactly a highlight, but we're going to be using it to give our wings a little shiny look to them. So go ahead and pause the video if you need, and go find yourself a light green pencil. Alright, so once you've done that, let's go ahead and take our green pencil, and in certain areas, not all of them, we're going to lightly put a very light layer of green down. So we're going to put a light layer of green over this section up here. So go ahead and do that now. Just very, very lightly. And it's okay if you cover up the white, because we're going to mostly go back over all the green with our white colored pencil. Let's go ahead and add a little bit down here as well. And down here. Alright, there we go guys. Now let's go ahead and take our white colored pencil, and we're just gonna start adding in our most intense points of light and where it's going to be reflecting on the wing. So we're going to take our white and we're going to go over our green again and down in here, but not too hard, because we still want the green to show through a little bit. And then we're going to bring our white all the way up this line. Just like that. and then we're going to bring it up a little bit up into here and follow this black line to there. And then let's take our white and add a little bit more right in here over this green. Alright, there we go. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing down here. We're going to put a very strong line of white right there. You can push down pretty hard for this part, guys. I'm going to add some right in there and then bring it all the way across this. And we're going to do the same thing down here. Bring it to there. Then we'll take our white and just lightly shade it until it gets into the blue. Alright, if you guys need to pause the video, go ahead and do that. Even if you need to go back and rewatch how I did it, it's perfectly fine, and I totally recommend doing that. So now we got most of this area. Let's just go through and add some last final streaks across these lines. Just like that. We'll do one up here. And then we're going to take our white colored pencil and lightly just put a small tint of white or shade of white and just kind of blend it right on top of there. Let's do the same thing up here. Alright, now that we've done that, for a little extra detail and highlights, we're going to take our white and just pull some streaks up into this black. They're going to be really faint, but this little detail will make your picture look all the better. So go ahead and add those now. Alright guys, now that we've added those, let's go ahead and take our black colored pencil and we can add some shadows. Now, this is mostly a flat surface, so the shadows aren't going to be too intense. But let's just take our black and we're going to pull a little bit out into the color, just a bit. Just like that. Not as much as we did with the white because we don't want too much black coming out into the color. Now we're going to take our black and lightly shade in some areas. Very light, because if you go too dark with the black, it's going to be really hard to cover back up. Now let's come right in here and just lightly add some. Let's add some shadow right under this line. Right, then we'll do the same thing down here. So as you can see, we added some highlights along the ridges of the line, and then we put mostly our shadows here in the middle. Just very faint shadows. It would be easier to determine where the shadows go if we had a picture that wasn't so flat like our butterfly. But with this, there's not a ton we can do because it's mostly a flat picture. So guys, that's about it. You can go through and touch these lines up back again if you need to. If you went over them a little bit, that's totally fine. You can darken them up. Now let's go ahead and move down to our bottom wing and do the same thing. So we'll take our white and we'll just start making these lines. Alright, so we got those right there. Now let's make another one on this side, and we're going to bring it down along here. And then we'll do some more white along the lines in here. Alright, and now we will just take our black and add some very, very faint shadows. So once again, we're going to outline these lines with a white, and then we're going to very faintly take our black and add some little bit of shadow coming in between. Very, very faintly so you can barely see it. And then we'll take our black and kind of pull some out here. Just like that. Then you can do the same thing with the white inside here. Just for a little bit extra detail. And then lastly, let's take our black and add a very small faint shadow right under there. Just like that. And guys, and that is it. So I really hope you enjoyed this so far, and to finish this assignment, what I want you to do is go ahead and do the right side of the butterfly on your own. Try to remember as much as you can and do it on your own, but if you need to, and you probably will have to, go back to these lectures and watch how I did some parts. I can't wait to see your butterfly in the Q&A section and what you've done with it.